This story was this story rocked me, changed my life, bro. We had I remember one time I went to go and drop off my daughter in Freeport. Okay, I was living in Houston. I went to Freeport to go and drop her off. And at that time, gangs were big, and it got into all of that stuff. Well, I remember I did horrible things, horrible things, John. Things I'm not even proud of saying. But when I went to, yeah, when I went to Freeport, on my way back, I got a phone call, and they said, we're going to get you. And I knew what had happened from what we had did to a family before. I knew it was just a matter of time before they came and got me. And long story short, a truck pulled mine over, like got me off the road, and they went in there and they kidnapped me. and it was wild,
was
bro.
it kidnapped like on Hangover?
No, it wasn't. No, it was not that. It was. That was better.
But you are the second person that has told me that they has gotten kidnapped.
Yeah, no, it's a real deal. Like there's a whole nother world out there that people are oblivious to.
All right, come on. Am I gonna laugh at this story?
No. It was scary.
I don't want to look like an asshole to everybody.
It's too late. It's too late. You did that to yourself when you said that. When you talked about that,
I didn't talk about your dad. You did.
You brought it up.
You said, well, you know what you
anyway,
said. Right.
So I was talking about Dad's injury.
We're talking about you getting kidnapped.
So I got kidnapped, and then I jumped back. So they grabbed me out of my truck. They like beat me. They were beating me and stuff. And then I got in the truck, and then I heard like they took me into a warehouse. I knew it was a warehouse because I could hear the echoes and stuff like that, right? They were pistol whooping me, bro. They were hitting me, whatever. And then they put the gun in my mouth. And all I could remember was I said, if this is it, Lord, I ask for forgiveness and repentance. I repented and I asked for forgiveness.
You said that all with a gun in your mouth?
In my head, I was saying this. I couldn't even, it was horrible. It was horrible, bro. Like, I couldn't see. All I could do was hear. You know what I mean? I didn't know when the next hit was coming. I didn't know how they were if it was gonna be a bat, if it was a gun, it was crazy, bro. It was nuts. It was nuts. Luckily, I was able to get rid of my daughter. So at that point, I remember saying, I was like, this is it, Lord. Forgive me for anything I've done, my disobedience, and if this is it, then this is it. So they put the gun in the mouth and the gun jammed. The gun jammed. And then they got mad. They got mad at the guy who put the gun in my mouth. And they said, give me another one. And they put it in my mouth and it jammed again. A different gun. It jammed again. Fast forward.
So I just got one question before we fast forward. At this point, you heard the guns jam.
Yeah.
Did you have any bowel movements on yourself?
I don't know. I was all I could hear was that. I was out of it. I was out of it. I got beat before they did that. So I was like, I could just hear.
Peed and all of that on yourself?
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
When I got out, I was dry. If that helps. Like everything was. So no.
Yeah, I was just asking you that because I'm pretty sure somebody else wanted to know.
No, not that I can remember.
Okay, bet.
Not that I can remember. So at that point, fast forward years after that, I had gave my life to the Lord, and I made a promise. I said everywhere that I had, every person that I hurt, I wanted to help somebody for that. Mm-hmm. So I dedicated my life to the Lord and to helping people. So I remember I went to a funeral, and they asked me to speak at this person's funeral. Check this out. When I got to the funeral and I spoke, I left. I was done with my piece, and I left, and I walked down the aisle, and this guy says, hey, man, I need to talk to you. And I said, okay. And so we left out of the actual funeral home, and we went to like a room that was off on the side. And when we went over there, he says, hey, man, and I'll never forget that tone of that voice when he said, hey, man. And I said, you're him, aren't you? And he says, I didn't know. He says, I didn't know you were a pastor. And I said, excuse me? He said, I didn't know you were a pastor. And I said, you're the one that put the gun in my mouth. Hey, bro, he came to me in that conversation. He was like, man, I'm sorry. And I said, bro, let me pray with you. And I led him to Christ, right? And at that moment, I said, God, from here on out, I'll do whatever I have to do to help whoever I have to help, and it's your will, not mine. And that was one of many stories, bro. That was like the odds of a gun jamming is like 1 in a million.
And you had it twice.
Twice, back to back.
Damn.
And so I knew then I was growing into my walk with Christ, and I said, I'm not supposed to be like everybody else.
Yeah.
And I started to accept change. You know what I mean? And that was a huge pivotal part of my life, because my pastor, Juan Martinez, he helped coach me up into learning Christ. So I understood as an adult now, getting off of drugs and all these things, I started to really understand and appreciate help, mentorship, asking people for help, and keeping my circle tight then, you know what I mean? And so, needless to say, the gentleman, he gave his life to God, and you know, I haven't heard from him since.
But your purpose was served.
It was served. And so was his.
Yeah.
So was his. You know what I'm saying? And so I can only imagine how he felt seeing the guy that he knew he was about to off, bro. Like, he was about to just blow the head off, bro. Twice.
That's
That's crazy. That's crazy. You know what I mean? There was